randomly. I'm putting you into, how many of you are there? I forgot to count. Wait a second. Just, oh, class. Yes, there we go.
Nine, I
What?
think.
Yeah, I think there's nine of you. So, two groups is all right, isn't it? Oh, all right. Okay. Sorry. Sorry. Hi, Sheena. You're here too. I'm glad. All right. So, breakout rooms. Two breakout rooms. Do you want to be a group of five, a group of four, or three groups of three?
Uh,
Okay, three groups of
I see.
three. You are nine. Can someone just make sure on the screen that there's nine of you? All right. Okay, no two breakout groups. You can be two.
Mm.
Okay, create. Okay, off you go then. Those are your group mates. One, two, three, four, five. Yeah, that'll be fine. Okay. Okay, so join your breakout groups and use the questions that I have given you for your discussion. It's a good idea. Oh dear. I will hop from room to room. Don't worry. Yeah.
It
Five.
was so sad. It was so sad.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm hopping from room to room as I did before. And you ignore me. I'll turn my camera off and just sort of like be hopping from room to room. If any of you want to record, you can. You can record the whole thing to your own computer. Um, but I leave that up to you. It might be a good idea if we have someone who will, maybe Karina, I'll put you
Mhm.
in charge of this group make sure that you don't get stuck at any point and that everyone has a voice in the group. That's the most.
Mhm.
All right.
Okay. I'll
Okay.
share the discussion points then. Okay.
Yeah. 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 You can.
Um,
Everyone should have it already because it's in the Google Classroom. You
mhm.
should.
Oh, sharing is not turned on. Uh, can you turn it on? Sharing?
Yeah, but I don't know if you can share it with the people in this group
Oh, okay.
because it's a breakout group.
All
So
right.
all of
Okay.
you need those questions.
Yeah, I got them.
You
Okay.
got them.
Uh, we posted it in the chat last time, so I'll do
Yeah,
that.
let
And
me.
then,
Okay, I'll go and post it in the chat.
oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'll take notes.
I guess like the first question's about what you feel at different points in the story and which scenes evoke different feelings.
Mhm.
Sad, I felt sad a lot.
Mhm.
It was other
Mhm.
feelings, but predominantly sad.
Yeah, same here.
I feel like
Um,
there was these moments of humor or moments of happiness, like
mm,
interspersed, especially at the beginning. But as
mhm,
the story went on,
mm,
there's a lot more sad moments and less of
mhm,
the other feelings breaking it up as well.
mm, mm.
I
Yeah.
think uh, I think uh, I mean, in the beginning, it was, the boy was sad and then he became happy, but along the middle, there was the feeling of disappointment building up. Disappointment from the son
Mm,
because he felt different. He couldn't fit. He was finding it difficult to fit into the American way of life.
mhm,
Um, and also the distance that was growing, within the family, because earlier on, the mom could communicate in Mandarin and everything was okay while the kid was young. But later on, as he was getting into the American way of life, that brought a distance because at one time he's trying to adjust to the American way of life. And when he came home, he had to adapt to the system that
mhm,
the mom had created. So it's actually it actually brings to me the point that the dad never took any effort in trying to guide the mom towards acclimatization into the American way of life, meaning that he didn't get her to study English, send her for English classes maybe, and mix with other American women. So she was just a housewife doing the things in the house and just satisfying the needs of the family, and the little boy. But now the boy was growing up, and that's where the problem came. So a kind of disappointment building up, which becomes sadness at the end of the story. Because I think a mom actually died.
Yeah,
Of course, she had a
does.
disease, but she also died from heartbreak. Yeah.
But how did it make you feel as a reader? Because I think that's more like question 3, which about how it changes. Question 1 is more how did different points in the story make you feel as a reader? Like these changes, this distance.
It made me feel sad. It made me feel while I was interested in reading the story, but it also made me feel sad. I mean, I got into the story, it's like it affected my own emotions. So that goes back to what a short story is supposed to do. The 3 things, right? So yeah, it made me get into the story itself. I started feeling what the story is supposed to make you feel. That means overall sad, maybe disappointed, to try to share the feelings of the writer himself. Yeah.
I think it like for me, I think there's times when you feel disappointed with the character, right? Like you said, you feel frustrated with the character, but you can also kind of see that because the writer very slowly builds it up that we can see the mom is getting ill and that she's about to die, and the character can't quite see that, even though we as a reader can see that, and it creates this almost maybe like a feeling of desolation, like it's sadness, but you know that for the characters, there's going to be a point of no return. And although he doesn't know that, we know that. Like we know that she's going to pass away and he's going to be filled with regret. And we know that kind of before it happens. And it just, it, I feel like it almost peaks the sadness at that point. And then I think the end part for me, like, because there's a lot of sad moments, there's a lot of happier moments earlier, I think, with Lao. I can't pronounce Lao Tzu. Like when he jumps around, he's so playful, he's so cheerful. It's such a contrast. But at the end, when we have that heartbreaking side of the mom, we finally hear how the mom really feels. There's another person there hearing it, right? The lady translating it, and I felt not just sad at that moment, but almost not exactly embarrassed for him, but like stressed for him because someone else could see like everything that had gone wrong. It wasn't like a private moment for him, whereas usually, I guess that moment of regret would be for a character. But yeah, so just different shades of sadness, lots of sadness, but different types.
Yeah, I was hoping it's a story with a happy ending.
I think there is a happy ending.
Is there? Okay.
Lao Tiger is
The happy
alive
ending.
at the end of
Comes
it,
back,
and
right?
he's purring, and he's in the arm of the sun. And from reading, we know that what activates the life in the origami animals, I think it's 2 things. One is, but what ties them both is memory. So either it's the festival, King Ming, right? Or it's during normal time, but the magic of the mother or the memory of the family that runs in the veins or whatever is what keeps the animal alive. So I think it's hopeful because the paper tiger is alive, it's purring. The question is that after the holiday passes, will it continue to purr or will it revert back to, will it only be a once a year thing? So I think it was very sad, don't get me wrong, very sad, but I think it does end on a hopeful note. And one more thing I'd like to add is It's interesting how when the story starts out, you think, oh, the son is the cute one and the dad is kind of like the asshole a bit. But later on, it kind of shifts. It's like, wow, like the dad's kind of becoming more. You realize that the dad's actually very sensitive. I don't think that he did not introduce his wife to American culture or did not help her or want to help her. I think her temperament was already quite introverted to begin with. And I think it was an act of love and mercy that he didn't force her to do
Yeah.
all those things, you know. But the last place that she was expecting it from was her own son to be shamed and whatnot. So I think that's what kind
Yeah.
of shocked her. Like her husband kind of shielded her from having to mix around with,
Others, yeah.
yes, but then to suddenly get it from her own son, like hard, man.
I think he also was had an unpreparedness, right? Because he didn't realize that she wouldn't be able to speak English, and he obviously didn't have much awareness about what bringing a lady over from another country would involve, like how much
Yeah.
actual preparation and how much I think he was naive in that moment as well, because we don't know exactly how old he was when he brought her over.
Yeah.
Okay, so
But they
coming
just
back
thought
to
she's
the
pretty.
original question, coming back
Husband.
to the original question, how
Mm,
it made me feel, I started off with a sense of wonder. There was amusement. There was disappointment. There was a lot of anger because I was angry at the son for the way he was treating his mom, and sadness of obviously. Um, uh, yeah. So it was like a roller coaster of emotions. It was really like up and down, and then you think you see a glimmer of happiness, and nope, we're back to sad again. So yeah, that's how I felt reading the whole piece. In fact, I read it last night and I cried. This narrator did not do it justice. I was crying when I read it.
I felt kind of disappointed after reading the story, I mean, I wouldn't want my son to treat me that way. And I felt it really gets you into the story, how the boy, I mean, I don't blame him because that was the situation, but how the boy could actually treat his mom such a way. But I think the boy was trying very hard to deal with the American environment. So yeah,
Was it so much he was dealing with the American environment, or was it just him really trying to suppress and bury and kill as much of his Chineseness?
Oops, we're being joined.
Yes. I haven't made it past question one, Sharon, in case you're wondering.
It's all right.
We're having a very lively discussion.
I'm a fly on the wall. You don't have to take any account.
No, Sheena feels very strongly that the story discussed her from the way that it plays with our emotions, how the author plays with our emotions and toys with us like a cat stalking its prey. And also, well, I think you can speak for yourself, Sheena.
Yes. No, I hate the story. I hate it. Absolutely hate it.
Okay.
But that's not what we're meant to be discussing. So we should go back to the discussion points
Okay,
because,
let me see.
It's an interesting view, and like no two readers are ever going to see the story in the same way, and you've got valid reasons, and you can argue them, yeah. But it doesn't
I
mean
think that-
everyone else has to feel the same way, yeah.
correct. No, I seem to be in the minority. But, yeah.
For reasons other than you might think. I was just saying that from a marketing point of view, the author has really done his job well because he knows his audience and he's using all the tropes and metaphors that he, would appeal to them. And kind of, Priscilla also said that, isn't emotional manipulation the name of the game as an author? Isn't that what you want? You want a reaction. And that's about it. Sorry, we spent all this time discussing that.
Yeah, do you guys want to maybe go back to the questions? We mentioned about the first person point of view.
Yeah.
Why do you think the first person point of view was used just now? Li Ming mentioned about how puts us right in the story, the immersion.
Yep.
I think it also for this story, like it kind of makes his perspective more central than whatever his mom was feeling. And I feel like
Yeah.
it's like it's less empathy towards his mom, especially in the first part of the narrative, which is probably what they want to highlight as well, that he was showing no empathy to his mother. So it was just all his perspective and what he saw and stuff like that, rather than what his mom might have been feeling at that moment.
Yeah, I think it's the whole migrant. He's trying to fit in. He wants to belong. So there's all
Correct.
Yeah,
more cruelty and rejection of his mom, which
yeah,
I mean, it's cultural shame, isn't it? That's the first person perspective brings that. It shows you how he feels, the shame that he feels.
that's true. Yeah, highlights his own shame.
Yeah. Okay. Could we
Um,
look at the next one? How does
sure.
Jack change over the course of the story?
What brings about these changes? How do his mother and father?
Yeah. So
I
the
don't know,
obvious
man.
change we just mentioned, basically he turns away from his culture because he wants to be white or seen as
Oh
white.
yeah.
Yeah. And then
He got
so he
pressured.
rejects everything about Chinese. He
Culture.
also wishes his hair and his eyes would not mark him out. Yeah.
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 And he shuts the menagerie away in a box.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a great metaphor actually, how the animals kept trying to break out and then they were making noises and he kept
Yeah,
slamming the
it was
box
very
shut.
like Toy Story vibes, like childhood and yeah, just like childhood wonder and all that he's just like shutting away.
Yeah. How do his how do his father and mother change? What do you guys think?
His mom macam like she becomes more what's the word, like submissive. She becomes more submissive. She stops trying as much because she's been rejected so much. So
I thought
I
it
don't
was
know.
I thought it was the other way around in a sense because she was trying really hard to be a model American
Oh, I mean submissive to the Western
mom.
culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, like she wasn't trying to bring out her like Chinese culture anymore because it just made people angry.
Yeah.
I think she didn't change. She tried to show something different on the outside, but I think inside when she's still
Oh,
singing
for sure.
in Chinese and stuff, I think she
That's
stayed
true.
true to who she was, the in a lot of ways, I think. But yeah, you're right in the sense that she had to be submissive on the outside. Just
So
to
it
make
was more like she kept her Chinese culture as something she
yeah
can personally enjoy,
for herself. Yeah,
like a identity, yeah, her in her own company kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I felt the dad was like very unsupportive though. I mean,
Yeah, what was he even doing throughout the whole thing? My God.
he was just like, oh, you knew this was gonna happen one day.
Yeah.
So
Oh, you need to
just
try
be it.
harder.
I was like, oh my God, this guy, I want to slap him.
Yeah, also useless. He's useless, Jack's useless. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. I mean, at the end, when she was dying from cancer, he like showed that he actually did love her a lot. But I mean, he was kind of not terribly effective.
Yeah, I mean, in that he aged faster after she died and whatever, but like that also could be a lot of reasons. Like maybe she was taking care of a lot around the house, and so his stress was like very minimized because she was there to do everything for him. That's what I'm getting.
Oh wow, he had to do housework. How
Yeah, oh no,
bad
I'm gonna
for
age
him.
faster because I have to wipe the
You
floor and
know,
stuff.
no, but I mean, this is just the callousness of of men, like, okay, I did my job. I brought you from Hong Kong.
Yeah,
There, look, I've given you a fridge and a washing machine. You should be happy. What do you got to complain about? Right?
exactly.
Never mind that I let people insult you. Never mind that I don't step in. Never mind that whatever. And also, I think, the fact that, this is going to happen, you knew this was going to happen one day, is basically, I want my child to be American. So yeah, too bad he's got your like inferior Chinese genetics, but yeah, whatever, just shut up and like make some hamburger. I
Yeah,
hate this story so much. Oh my God.
it's like you're
I can
lucky
see
enough to
Sharon
be here,
chuckling.
that kind of thing.
But guys, I mean, isn't it from the point of view of Jack right now? So what he
Yes,
sees is his dad taking his side. What he
Yes, he's a clueless
yes.
idiot like his father. They're all
Agree.
equally clueless. Like
Agree.
Ken Liu is clue. Yeah. That.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of white overrepresentation of
It
that point
is,
of
yeah.
view. Yeah. But so I
Okay,
guess
maybe. Sorry. Continue.
is that the themes? Is that one of the themes of the story?
Yeah, maybe we continue the questions. Then after that, we continue ranting.
Yeah. So what would you say are the themes of the story? The dominance of white culture. Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
No,
more
I think that's
interested in
changing
asking the
now.
question, why is it this story won all these awards?
oh, it won very many awards,
It
is
won a
it?
Nebula,
Yeah,
it won
Hugo
it
and
like that year,
Nebula.
it won every single award that was going, right? And my
But they're all
question is, why?
but they're all I
Why?
mean
Did it because it made everybody cry? Is it because a whole bunch of people on these judging panels could sit there and go, "Oh my God, we are such terrible American people for for whatever. Let's give Ken Liu all the prizes." I mean, what were they? Why is it so good?
I was
Why did
wondering
it,
I
apart
think it's
from
like
its
Miss Universe.
emotional
It's time for a
manipulation?
colored woman to win that year, and then surely all the prizes go to colored people. It's like Miss Universe. It's time for a colored
The
author.
diversity
Yeah,
thing.
it's a DEI win, maybe.
The DEI campaign.
and I really I don't know much about the composition of the boards of those awards, like the Hugo and Nebula. They've been around for
A long time.
yonks, like 1960s or something. I think they've really been handing them out for a while. So I would imagine they all be a certain demographic, but I might be wrong. So and maybe, as we said, it was time to be politically correct, but also they identified with Jack and his dad because that is their own viewpoint.
Yeah,
True.
that's true.
Yeah.
And the exoticism thing, like Sheena said, I think that's what appealed to them as well.
Yeah, if they're that demographic. So
Yeah.
I can imagine. Yeah, it's yeah.
Do you guys
Okay.
also think maybe because it's a short story, so he has to get a lot of things across in very little words?
That's
Mm-hmm.
true.
That's also part of the reason why we got angry, because there's a lot of things that are unexplained, or a lot of things that he's had to use typical ways of writing to, the tropes that are stereotypical, or enforce it a bit,
Like a letter.
like the letter. Yeah, so you
Okay.
have to speak quickly.
Yeah.
That's part of it as well. Maybe I don't know.
It could be because yeah, it is very compact. Yeah, so it could be that he's just trying to. It's a shortcut, lah. A lot of the things he's done, I can imagine that might be.
Hmm. Other themes, maybe it's like, growing up a third culture kid kind of thing. That's another
Being an
journey for
immigrant
Jack.
now, I
Yeah,
mean, I spent
immigrant.
11 years in the UK, going as sort of in my 20s, so I can sort of understand some of what Jack goes through. Although there was very little overt racism, I have to say. I think I only had
Yeah.
one insult shouted at me somewhere along the way. Very little overt racism. But apologies, Sharon, but the British culture is very class oriented. So you have to speak a certain way. And I
Oh,
wouldn't use, my accent and
accent.
everything. I had to yeah, you learn very quickly that if you speak a certain way, if you behave a certain way, you get put into a pigeonhole.
Mm.
And if you don't want to be in that pigeonhole, you have to adopt camouflage.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Like, same with my experience when I was in the US as well. When
Story is quite.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
again? Okay. Mhm.
no, okay, wait.
Okay,
What
so
was
how does the father and mother change?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Because
Okay.
we've been focusing on Jack, so now we need to explore how the mom and dad change.
Yeah. Father
I
and
I think the father was always a quiet one
mm,
in the background.
mm.
He has been observing things,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
he's just
How
not.
does he change?
He wilts after she
The dad
dies. He
changed
gets
towards.
small.
Remember, he told off the son once, "You're rude to your mom." The dad,
Mm,
yeah, at some point he realized, the son was really unfair to the mom. I mean, he knew the dynamics that was going on.
mm,
Maybe he could have been played a greater role
He's like a background character, actually.
Background dad.
Yeah, because there's hardly any mention of him. But I don't think the dad really changes much, except from being the dad to the sad dad.
Dad to sad dad.
Yeah, the background dad to really sad dad, and then he's out of the picture.
Well, after she dies, like not only does he get smaller and wilt down, he also I don't get the impression from near the end of the story that he's really that close to the son. Although they're helping him clear out the house, the son has this realization that he doesn't know much
Mm.
about his dad,
Oh
as
my
if
God.
the dad
No,
also
go
kind of
on.
this. Huh?
No, sorry. Go on. I just thought, but you go first. Yeah.
Yeah, like as if he just, he maybe I don't know if he maybe sees the situation as a bit of a failure, or he just feels that sad over the mum passing and the son not being there, or what. But he seems to just kind of retreat out at the end.
Mm. Mm.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say that he's the only son between them,
Mm,
right? And I think that as much as the mom was kind of
Mm.
dependent, I don't think the mom was so dependent on the dad in as much as she just wasn't interested in participating in American society. She could have been quite happy,
Mm.
like, with her son and with her family, and not mixing with or trying to
Mm.
assimilate, right? But I also get the feeling that the dad was also quite dependent on the mom. And
yes.
remember, he didn't hang around when those two ladies came over to say hi.
Mm.
He kind of like, as soon as they came over, he was like, okay, I'm going out. Sorry if she doesn't seem very talkative,
Mm,
right? So I
true.
think that but I think they were quite close in the way that, male loneliness epidemic, right? So I think that when the mom died, and he realized he was quite lonely. His main source of emotional or connection was gone,
Mm,
and we can see that the son didn't really have any, like, that those typical Asian values of, hey
Yeah.
dad, come eat, or ha dad, come, it was, even with his own mom he was like that. So can you imagine with his
Mm.
dad, even though they had the shared culture and the English language, but that sense of
Mm.
closeness that the mom may have lavished or shared with the dad was not there.
mm,
So it probably felt more painful for him to be in that house
Correct.
with the
yes.
Yeah.
son,
So,
because the son
so
didn't remind him of her at all. So maybe.
um, at which
And the
part
son
did
might
they?
blame the father as well for, you chose this Chinese lady, and this is why I'm
I
being bullied in school and all that, which is why he's not close to the father as well. So,
Mm.
He never
I kind of
outwardly blames him though.
Maybe he thought his dad was like creepy. I mean,
He
like,
he actually only really puts his blame on his mother
yeah.
throughout the story. And I think when he went to school and I'm assuming he got bullied very badly. It's interesting the author doesn't need to show that at all, that he comes home with whatever abuse and his mother is the cause, as
Yep.
opposed to the boy that did it to him or the school system that he can't really fight against. But he doesn't at any point blame his dad. But
I
he,
blame the dad as well, because the dad could have addressed it when he came home
Yeah.
from the
yeah,
horrible
I mean
2 weeks.
we do, but he
Yeah.
never
So
does.
maybe it's just that the dad is not one of those really, hey, I want to be your buddy son kind of dads, and that's why
No,
they
he's
never
not. He's not.
got close.
But that's
Then
the
the
thing
thing
is,
I feel angry at the dad because I don't think the dad made enough effort at all. He just ordered the bride,
Yeah,
kept
that's
her
right.
kept her as his wife to do the things for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. I
And,
mean,
and
maybe it was the type of men those days. I'm not sure, but
Yeah, it does sound like it actually.
well,
Yeah.
if you look at the timing, like 1978, right? I believe 1978 was what that number pops up. Is that the year that he was born?
Mm.
Right?
not
But
sure.
No.
no,
Uh,
but wait, what? It comes up in the story 1978. But anyway, the impression I get is that this may
Oh,
be
he signs
like,
up for it in
mm.
1973 is when he
yeah.
signs up for the
The
academy.
bride. Mm.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking,
So
like,
around about then.
maybe could it have been that his dad was part of World War II? You know, when they went to like Vietnam and all this kind of.
Mm.
World War II is
No,
earlier than that. That's 1945. But yeah, maybe Vietnam or something like that.
maybe older anyway. But yeah, that's not really relevant. But there was something I forgot now what I was gonna say, but it's no, it's okay. Never mind. Oh no, I remember now. I remember now. I remember now. This whole thing really reminds me of this. I'm mixed myself. My father is Malay. My mother is Irish, right? But when I read up about mixed race children, apparently the dynamic is quite different depending on what gender you are as a mixed race child, and also whether the parent is which parent is the Asian and which parent is the white or the European. So it's a much different dynamic. Like if he had been a girl, for example, right, in American culture, that is a lot less difficult than if you are a boy, because
Yeah. It's signified that it's going to be sad from the start.
Right. Yeah. But I think the letter in particular is very effective because it fills in a lot of the big blank that is his mom.
True. And also it's like she only had the language to communicate that in Chinese even to the end of her life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's nothing she could ever have said in the climate she was forced to like acclimate to at the time.
Correct. Yeah.
So I suppose that flashback like kind of gives voice to her, like builds her character more fully at the end because we're only getting shadows of her throughout
Correct.
the story.
But what do you all think about the whole idea of the letter tying up all the loose ends? Or would you all have preferred a cliffhanger or something unexplained? Because for me, it's too neat a tie up at the end.
Good question.
Yeah. That's a good point. It is very neat.
Yeah.
Maybe the letter could have been a bit more, or could have been torn or something like that. Then certain parts of it were not readable, something like that.
I found it's too easy for him to just go find someone who can read Chinese for him and then teach him how to write one word and that's it, you know?
And then after that, like Lau Hu totally forgave him for everything.
Suddenly he's purring,
happening.
suddenly he's alive again. Like, what is this?
I was like,
You all loved the story before I said anything. Oh my God.
It made me emotional, but I didn't mean I love the characters or like what what they all.
I still enjoy the story. I
still feel like if I read it again, I will still cry. But whether or not like I think all those decisions were the right decisions is
I think the mother's story, it like I said, it's like, oh, poor downtrodden girl who, manages to escape China amidst this terrible cultural revolution thing. To me, it's kind of, because when you look at the way, if he's grown up in China and left and came to America early in his life, you look at how other Chinese authors address it. Right? And it's addressed very differently. It's not addressed with victimhood. You know?
I see what you mean. Yeah.
There's a strivingness to it, which is, you strive to do better. There's hardship, but there's also like light at the end of the tunnel. So if you look at things like Three-Body Problem, it also begins in the Cultural Revolution. It's really horrific. But you look at how it goes beyond that so quickly. So to actually kind of go, we were this like mystic people, and then there was this Cultural Revolution, and then we had to run away, and then, ended up being like a bondsmaid servant. And I'm kind of thinking, wow, so 70s writing. So in the 70s and the 80s, you've got this slew of stories about, the bound feet Chinese woman stories. They were the only stories that came out of if anyone was writing about the East, if they were in the Middle East, it was like a forced marriage and they had to escape the horrific whatever of their lives. And then if it was set in this part of the world, it was all bound foot women who were like raped or servants or something or whatever. And it's the same narrative, and that's why the story makes me so angry.
Right. I'm going to give you just 5 minutes to round off whatever you're saying, and then I'll give you a 5-minute break. Okay. So I'll call you all back in 5 minutes. One point, Sheena, did you realize that Three-Body Problem, the script writer was Ken Liu?
I didn't. I refused to watch the
series. Same guy.
I refused to watch it because I loved the books so much that. And then as soon as I realized what they'd done with it was they'd taken it out of China and made it international, I kind of thought, no.
I only watched the first episode. I only watched a bit of it.
So I'm like, no, because the story is so is so grounded in China
Yeah.
and that's what I loved about it. I kind of thought, no, I cannot. I
Okay.
cannot.
All right.
So
Okay. 5 minutes. Anyway. All right.
yeah.
So I'm jumping off
Okay.
to see the other guys. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yep. And so I can't even read the other short stories in this Paper Menagerie collection.
Reasons.
But
Which
she
is
didn't
sad.
move away. She got
Well,
orphaned.
True. She did. Yeah, that's true. She got offered, but either way, she didn't really have much choice in it, whereas he did. But it's interesting that they have that same core issue in their life, and it mirrors each other. Even though he saw nothing of his mother in him, they actually have the same regret in the end.
Right. I'm going to give you just 5 minutes. So
Okay.
at 11:50, I will put you all back into the main room, and then take a 5-minute break if you need one. Would you? All right. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Okay, the
Next question will be interesting.
most
What do you feel about the blend of magical and realistic elements in the story? Why do you think the author chose to tell the story in this way? And does this blend work for you? Ha, another 3-in-1.
Does this work for you?
Tricked.
What? Does it what? Does it?
Does it work?
Does
For
it
me,
work for you?
I love the whole thought of, oh wow, I fold this origami animal, I breathe into it, and it comes to life. And I was reading it going, ha, I want to be in this world. So yes, it does work for me because I like fantasy fiction. Why he chose to tell the story this way, I would think. I think if he hadn't, it wouldn't have been half as interesting to me. It ties in because that Lao Ho is that unifying element that brings the story all back together. It starts
Yeah,
off
I
with
think
Lao Ho and it
I
ends
think
with
you're
Lao
right.
Ho.
It wouldn't be as interesting if to
Yes.
me as well if there weren't this part.
If you were just to look at a flat paper folding.
Yeah.
I think it's the sense of wonder,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
There's a sense of wonder and playfulness, and it's so
Mhm.
opposite of the feeling of shame and embarrassment and humiliation and degradation. That when you put the two things together, each makes the other seem a lot more intense and
True.
tragic and
And those
magical.
animals are so pure because no matter what he had done, Lao Ho still comes back to him because that unconditional. It's for me, it's an expression of unconditional love. which the mother poured into those animals.
Yeah.
I think as well, I mean, this is a depressing take, but not to bring it down a notch, but I wonder if some of it is also a bit of trauma, like that distancing of like in retrospect, because he's telling it as an adult and everything ended hopefully in the sense that Lao is still there for him, but in reality it's also sad, right? He learned things too late. That trauma, maybe he creates some distance when he looks back on those memories, because of course Lao wasn't actually alive, but remembering it that way maybe helps him deal with some of it.
Yeah. Or maybe the animals are one way of in this story, the only way of him feeling like he belongs, right? Through the animals.
Metaphorical.
Yeah, because I mean, and it's a channel towards his mother.
I think he used origami as origami could be his hobby. So, playing with the animals.
Yeah,
he would have want to use it
right.
as a point for his story.
Yeah.
But in the story,
Yeah.
it clearly says that the mother, in her letter, in the context of the story, it says the mother literally came from a place in China where this was normal. The magical animals were normal, and they did come to life. So it's not, it's not metaphorical or imagination. I mean, in the question itself, it says that magical realism. So
it's real.
It's actually real. And the part where he's like, oh, the childhood memories are fuzzy or incorrect, it could be him trying to downplay this very important part of
Chineseness.
it's Chinese, yeah, it's Chineseness, yeah. And for me, I feel that like it's a kind of perfect choice. There was a bit of a tension. Everything was made of paper, and paper can tear, paper can burn, paper can crumple. I felt my heart was a piece of paper being folded. Actually, this whole story from the beginning, it felt like my heart was a sheet of paper being folded and twisted and blown into and then torn. So everything that was happening to the to those animals.
That is so imaginative.
And taped up back together again. With
Put it together again. It's like, I don't want to cry.
I couldn't really identify with the letter, the long letter, because from my Chinese background, I've never seen any of my Chinese relatives writing letters and expressing themselves emotionally in this way. So the letter, that part, I couldn't identify with.
It was cool. It was kind of cool that it was it was inside the tiger,
it
though, right?
folded into the animals. Yeah.
That part was kind of cool. It was kind of cute. Yeah, but
I just
Have I got everyone back now? Okay. You want to take 5 minutes to go and get a drink or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, till 11:55. That's 4 minutes actually.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, that was a lot of talking, wasn't it? Right. Right. Let's let's get everybody back and see what came out of the discussion. There was some very lively discussion going on and some interesting differences of opinion, which I did appreciate.
I found this story much harder to analyze than last week's.
Yeah. Why do you think that was, Karina?
Because of all the very different emotions because it was first person, maybe POV. I don't know. Yeah. Rather than
it's a longer story, and the other thing that's interesting about it is it covers a much bigger sweep of time. And whereas the story last week was very linear, one scene after another, with just one exception, this one, in terms of the time scale, is really quite complex because it switches forward and back quite a lot, which is interesting. There was a lot of what was really controversial there was the question about emotions and how did you feel at different points in the story. Cheryl talked about a roller coaster of emotions. Cheryl, would you like to just talk about why you felt it was like a roller coaster of emotions?
I read it last night, and it started off at the beginning of the story. It was, oh wow, because I love fantasy fiction. I was like, oh look, animals coming alive, and I love origami, so I was very excited. And then suddenly it took this turn.
Yes.
Oh, okay. You realize that it's not as simple or happy as it seems. And
can I just
then
stop you there?
Yeah.
It's the contrast between that first scene and then the part that follows, isn't it? So where does the author go after the first enchanting scene with the paper animals? What does he talk about then?
Then I get curious because then he talks about, his mom was picked out of a catalog.
Yeah, I mean, it's really it's horrible,
contrast.
isn't it?
Yes.
It seems really kind of cold and exploitative. So we've got this incredible emotional contrast between the first scene and what comes next. All right, what other emotions did you feel while reading the story?
Okay. After that, I was surprised, and then I was touched because the father accepted the mother and the mother accepted the father, and they got together. And then I was amused because of all the hijinks of the animals. So this was from, I don't think I went all the way down. The roller coaster was like, okay, we go up, and then we came midway down, and then we go up again, and then suddenly you go all the way down because the shark died. And then after that, it starts getting serious. So I start getting, I feel anger and frustration because the elements of racism come in and bullying, and you can see the mother is so helpless because she doesn't understand what's going on, and you feel for her as well. So there's a lot of things to process in the middle of the story, and the way the author takes it, he brings you even further down because the son ends up, becoming racist towards his own mother, and I get really angry because as in you're brought up with Asian values. This is not how you're supposed to treat your parents, and then it gets even sadder when the mom gets cancer and that there's going to be this regret twist at the end, and it happens. So the ending is bittersweet for me. And I cried when when I was reading the letter from the mother. Yeah. And like I was telling everyone, the narrator did not do justice to the story. Because in my head it sounded a lot more heart-wrenching. Yes.
Why? That's an interesting comment, actually. Why do you think the writer didn't do justice to
No, the narrator.
The narrator
of the book. The person who read the book. Sounded a bit AI.
Oh, you mean the recording?
All the Chinese pronunciation all wrong.
Yes, correct. It sounded
I didn't realize. I was so impressed. I was thinking, oh, this is brilliant. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Talking about emotion, Sheena took the completely opposite tack. Sheena felt manipulated by the story. Can you explain?
Okay, the first time I read the story, I sat and cried. I cried, I felt for the mother, I felt for the boy, I felt for the tiger, I felt for everybody, I felt so much. And then I read it again. And then I was just pissed off. Because to me, this is like, oh my God, right? Like, this poor woman who suffered her entire, like who had this life, right? Which is completely now erased because of this idiot son and even more idiot husband, who are telling her you got to be American. I kind of thought, what is this? Who am I supposed to feel sorry for? You want me to feel sorry for you because your mother died? Really? Honestly? Yeah, no, I hate you. I hate you so much, right? What do you do? And this is just the erase. It's always it's always the woman's job to make the boy feel better. Even after she's dead, she's still trying to make the poor idiot feel better. What is this?
Agree.
What kind of emotional manipulation is this? Right. And then this whole thing, when we talk about this story, as I said before, is written in 2011. 2011. China's preparing for the Olympics. China has made this, China's got skyscrapers and all that. And what are we still talking about? The Cultural Revolution. Oh my God. Can you imagine every story about Europe was set during World War II? Or the Holocaust? No, right. We've all moved on since then. But when it comes to China, no. China is still stuck in the Cultural Revolution where people are starving and suffering. And oh, look, they've got this cute, quaint ability to blow magic into paper animals. And origami isn't even Chinese. Right. So, I mean, I no doubt Chinese are very clever people, and I'm sure they would have figured out how to fold animals, and I'm sure they do it better than anybody else, and they probably taught the Japanese how to do it. But, that's not the point. The point is that's the point. Yeah.
So we all felt something, okay? No matter what it was. We did. And what was someone was, I'm trying to think who was describing the emotions as being up and down, and who was that? I felt this, and then it went down and then up again. And was that you again, Cheryl, or who?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. One thing that you can talk about when you talk about a short story is the emotional trajectory of the story. So, trajectory means like when you fire a shot, the line of the bullet,
Path.
it's the line that something takes. So we talk about plot and how plot works, but we also can talk about how the emotions work from one part of the story to another, and how the writer makes us feel at different points in the story. And whether you loved the story or got really angry with the story, you did feel something in the story. How does the writer actually do that? How does the writer play with your feelings in this story? I know there was a line that someone else said, Li Ming said, "Isn't an emotional manipulation the name of the game?" So
I
Yeah.
said, I think,
is this what a writer does? Is emotional
yes. Yeah.
No, I
Uh,
don't think it is.
the
I
the
don't
point
think
about
that I don't think that's what good writers are supposed to do.
Mm.
I think, as writers, you put your emotion on the page, right? You put your story down. Um, and it's up to the reader to take what they want and feel what they want from it. And they make a choice. But
Mm.
to emotionally manipulate, to actually say, now I'm going to make you feel this, then I'm going to make you feel this, I'm going to make you feel this, and ultimately because I don't think this kind of writing is so disingenuous.
But is it really emotionally manipulated? I disagree because I feel that for me, when I read, if I feel something, the more I feel something when I watch or read something, the better I feel, the more valuable the experience feels for me. And I don't know if when I read this story, I felt I was being manipulated. I just felt that I was feeling something. And that was important to me. Because you said that like you just put your own story down and whatever people feel in reaction is how the author should behave. But I don't think he's put it down necessarily with the intention to pull our strings. I don't know if I would call it manipulation.
But
Oh, it's
I
totally
don't think he was
manipulation.
manipulative.
It's
It was just a story.
manipulation, but it's manipulation in the way that origami manipulates paper. So in this case, the paper is our heart, is our feelings, and we can, so we appreciate the artistry of the story because we're feeling things, right? But then Sheena is very perceptive in that, wait a minute, it's like, it's almost like too crafted to elicit as much emotion as possible. You have the traumatized, deferring Asian mother, right? And like you have the harshness of the American school system, and then you have her preemptively forgiving him for his sins and being an asshole, basically, right? So, but the way it's told, you don't feel that anger when it's being told when you're reading it. You're just feeling your feelings. So I think that it is manipulative, but in a very craftful way, the way origami paper is manipulated.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. The author has thought about that emotional curve that he wants you to feel.
Yep.
The parts with the animals, enchanting. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I felt that. I don't know, Sheena was. I really do take it. This is your viewpoint, and it's perfectly valid. It's 100% valid. It's you
Thank you.
don't, or
after after what Sheena said, now I see it actually in a new
Yeah,
light.
I do as
In a
well.
new
I think
light.
my view of the story has changed a wee bit as well.
Yeah.
I've read it.
Yeah.
I read this also with my students at Nottingham. And I mean, even while I was teaching them and playing them the recording for their class, I cried. I think I've cried 3 times over this story.
Yeah.
I wonder whether that letter at the end is a bit
It's
too
a bit
much.
overdone, I think.
Yeah,
I think it's
I
a
would
bit
agree.
overdone.
Our group kind of felt it was all too, I think Priscilla especially said, oh, this is just ties things up too neatly. And then
Yes.
the fact that the tiger kind of gave him and was purring at the end was just like,
Yes.
Yeah.
why?
Yes.
Yes,
It was
but like
like
a
he's
woman,
forgiven so
realistically,
easily.
yeah, like realistically, a woman who's been through that much shit, right? Seriously though, because like my mom is, I mean, she's Irish, living in Malaysia. I mean, separated from her home country. There's times when she's felt lonely and stuff like that, right? But she wouldn't take shit from any of us either. Like, just because I'm like, she has her own life. She has her own. It doesn't revolve around us. Now he's the only son, so maybe in this magical
I
realism
think
universe, right?
because
I mean, if anything, the mother herself is the level of compassion and sacrifice the mother has is magical and unrealistic in itself. But yeah, a woman who's been through that much.
It's
I don't
because
think
she
Erasure.
mentioned no, it's
She's
because
gone
she
through
mentioned that
erasure.
and she mentioned that her son has like her features and the only remnant of her family left. So I think that's why she's so about him,
Stated.
Obsessed with him.
I
And
think
that's why
it,
she's so forgiving because
it
like she sees her culture in him, her society in him
It's
as well.
patriarchal bullshit.
Yeah.
I
You know,
think the
All
end
mothers
of
must be forgiving. All mothers must
yeah.
love their sons. All mothers' sons can do no wrong, even
Right.
after they've done the most horrific things. Sorry, la, no, not buying it.
Especially if you're an Asian mother.
More
Yeah.
so.
Chinese mother and the son. That
Yeah.
also reminds me, that brings that to light to me, because and in that time, right? So Chinese mothers, and if they have only one son,
Yeah,
then yeah, they're
only
gonna
son.
pour everything into him, right?
I beg to differ about the mother part, because my own mother went through a lot of shit and she kept it all to herself.
Mm.
And no one knew. And my father was the same. So they're not the kind to talk about what they're going through, and you
Yeah.
don't know until they pass.
That's
Because
kind of what happened.
Actually, I
Yeah.
agree with you,
my
Cheryl.
father did leave us a letter expressing all his regrets about
Oh, really? He did?
all these things,
Oh.
which is why I resonated with that letter, because it reminded me so much of how much this generation of people take on, and they don't want their children to know about it. So
Yeah.
it depends on what kind of a background you come from, your life experiences. Different people will get a different thing from this story, and some people might find that that letter is overdone. Some people might see it as, oh yes, it reminds me of my grandparents or my parents who
Interesting.
you
It's a
don't know
different
what
way
they
of
went
thinking,
through.
actually. It's
Yes,
a different
yes,
way of thinking.
yes.
Mm.
So my
Um,
parents were born in the 40s. They went
yes.
through the war. They went through
It's a
Japanese
different way.
occupation. So
How
you don't know.
how long was the letter that your dad left you? How long was it?
My brother wouldn't let us see it because he said it was too sad. So he just told us the gist of it. So it really depends, because you don't know who your reader is. Yes, your reader might be, oh my God, why are you still harping on the Chinese Cultural Revolution? Or your reader could be me, and oh my God, this reminds me of my parents. So yeah, it's great that we have all have this different views of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
story.
Yeah,
which is,
yeah.
which is
And Cheryl, you're right. So much comes from your own life and your own
yes.
experience,
Yes.
and
Yes.
how you
So I
can
shared a
relate.
quote from Ken Liu from the interview, where he says, you, as the author, you only write half the story. You need your reader to finish the other half.
That's right. And we were kind of talking about this last week when we talked about what's the story about. Okay, because and that's related to theme, because there is a theme that well, what's the story about? Level one, it's about a mother who makes paper animals for her son. Level two is what can you decided he thought the story would be about. And actually, in that interview, he talks about what he feels the theme of the story is, which is interesting. So do go and look at that. But thirdly, what's the story about? It's your story in the end. He's handed it over to the reader. So the third about is the reader's about, which I think you should always remember. Okay, I want to talk about the magic in the story. So, how did you feel that the magical element in the story worked for you? Was it good? I had one of my students at Nottingham. As soon as I played the story, she's going to, that's a load of rubbish. That will never happen. That couldn't happen. Mind you, it helps that she was autistic, that she's autistic. So she sort of called out the story straight away. It couldn't happen. Could it happen?
Oh, the magical element, or I have something to share from, okay, my family, they're not very emotionally available. And so there are some elements of the story which are also in my own situation. But I have every Christmas, we have these angels that my mother sets out, right? And for me, that's magical. I mean, they don't come to life, but it kind of gives me the sense of belonging as well. And that's you know, yeah, that's a way of connecting. So I see this connection with the animals. It works for me in that way. When like the mother, she couldn't express herself. She had to put in a letter, so she's not emotionally available. In words. So yeah. In my own case, it does work. But for me, it's angels during Christmas.
Yeah, that's interesting. We'll come back to your angels in a bit as well.
I feel the paper animals created the magic. I mean that she's blowing air into the animals, and the child is pretending. When the writer was a child, he was pretending as if those animals were real and playing with them and making the noise.
Yeah.
It gave a nice feeling actually.
Yeah.
All of us, when we are young, we play with paper dolls and so on. We
Yeah,
pretend.
yeah.
I used to pretend to be a teacher when I was young.
Yeah.
I assembled the kids in the room and
Wow.
pretended that I was a teacher,
Yeah.
closed the door.
Kids
So it's
bring their
something like this.
imagination to it, don't they? Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of imagination. And the writer was feeling that. I thought it was quite an interesting story, although it was sad, but yeah.
I liked it at the end as well because most of the magic happened when he was very young, but the fact that Lao Hu kind of came back to life at the end and all that,
Yeah.
it's sort of like his symbolizes his reconnection with the whole culture and everything. That's why he can actually see Lao Hu again. Yeah.
My question is it really his imagination or was it actually magic?
That's a good question, Priscilla. What do you think? And how far can you leave the door open to us to interpret it as we want to interpret it?
Yeah, I think it's, of course, everyone's experience kind of informs that, like, about the angels. You do feel it's magical. But of course, it didn't move in her case. But in the book, it moved. I mean, in the story, it moves. And first, I thought it was, of course, his imagination. But his mother actually kind of blows air into breath into it. That whole creation thing, I like that element. And then the fact that one of the animals likes to jump into the soy sauce and get his feet wet, and it was not just the animals moving. They were telling a story, whether it was in his mind or not. But at one point, his friend Mark also sees the animals move. But again, it could just be Jack's point of view. So I like that thing that it's ambiguous, and that we can interpret a lot from it. And me liking magic, of course, for me, the animals were real. I mean, when they were shut in the box and making noise, that was real for me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So we kind of agree to suspend our disbelief. We're in a story. We can, even as adults, we can accept a magical element in a story. Okay, I've put a glossary of literary terms that I'm slowly building up as things come up in stories. This one element in the story is magical. Only the animals in the story are magical. Other things are entirely realistic. Like the rest of it is down to earth, is mundane, it's everyday life, and so on. This is often called magical realism, where just one thing in the story is magical. The rest of the story isn't magical. And this is a genre, a type of literature that really comes from Latin America. The famous authors who used magical realism, Isabel Allende, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, and then magical realism spread, and there are a lot of magical realist writers all over the world who write with an element of magic in their stories. So, that adds a bit to your terminology. It's magical realism. It's not fantasy, exactly. That is a fantasy element, but it's only one element. To call a story fantasy, basically you're going to set it in a universe where everything is fantastical, right? Does that make sense? Yeah, Sheena, is that how you would? You're someone who reads fantasy and sci-fi. Is that how you would take it?
Yeah, I think it's with magical realism. I think it's because of its background in South America, um, which kind of fuses the possibility of things that are not logical. And I think it's a reaction to the fact that stories must make sense. So it's, there are more things on heaven and earth that, kind of thing. And it allows that slight get out clause. I also think magical realism is very much a function of I would call colonial literature, because you see it in South America, you see it in India, you see it in, many, it's kind of spread in places where culture,
Yeah.
where magic is not seen as foreign or alien.
That's interesting. Well, one of the magical realist novels that I really love is The Tin Drum, Gunter Grass, which is German. So that one would be an exception. But you're right. India, Midnight's Children, Salman Rushdie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't think. Oh, yeah. Actually, also British Louis de Bernier wrote a novel which was a magical realist novel. So
it's in a lot of his stuff. I think whether you're looking at I've read a lot of his stuff, whether you're looking at Captain Corelli's mandolin, or whether you're looking at his War of Don Emmanuel's Nether Parts.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah.
You see the same styling.
Yeah, so it's influential. It's spread, and there are a lot of really good stories which you could describe as magical.
Haruki Murakami.
Oh, yeah,
Wow.
definitely. But perhaps a bit more on the fantastical side, Haruki Murakami. Very, very good. I like that. I like Sarah's image of my heart was a piece of paper in that display. Really nice. Right. What I want to do is kind of like I think you've talked about most aspects of the story, and you've done it really well in your groups. Whether there was controversy or there wasn't, it was very enjoyable. Let me just go back to the task for the week. You please feel free to suggest anything else that you think would be a good thing to write. So you're writing, and I'm going to edit this a little bit. I'm going to say again, it's optional. If you don't feel like doing it, you don't have to do it. You've had the enjoyment of reading a story. So my thought was write a story or a scene, because you don't have to write a complete story. It's a big ask with only a few days to do it, which features an object with magical properties. Everything else in the story should be perfectly normal. Use the first person retrospective POV, the adult looking back at the childhood experience, in other words, to try to make your reader feel something. Okay, so the angels this could be the angels, Karina.
Okay.
Which features an object with magic. Okay, it gives you a bit of scope to see. And the same kind of thing that I did in the task last week. Write a scene from the story from the perspective of another of the characters. Again, try to make your reader feel something. Whether feel something doesn't mean necessarily you have to feel sad or you have to feel pity. It could be anger, it could be disgust, it could be anything, but you're trying to make your reader actually feel something, and you need to think about how you will make the reader feel that thing without making them feel consciously manipulated. So that would be a good challenge as well. Can you think of anything else that would be a good task to give you following on from this story? Does anyone feel inspired by the story to write something different? I thought maybe also you could write about learning about your father or your mother, something that you learn about.
Yeah, that would be nice.
How would I word that?
Maybe you could write it as something that you learned about your parents in retrospect.
Or you accidentally discovered, you know?
Yeah.
I think
Or a
how
superstition that your parent may have had that you always thought was rubbish, and then you discover there's actually like some real truth to it.
Are we gonna get dragged to the underworld or something now?
Yeah,
Gonna get cursed.
you can keep that. You can interpret it like that if you want to, Sarah, right?
Sharon, for the features, for the Reddit story which features an object with magical properties, can it be an animal or a plant with magical properties as well, or does it have to be like not
No,
alive?
it can be whatever you want it to be.
Okay, cool.
You know, it's like I'm just putting these out of my head. It's like, you know, what could I possibly, you know, what might you want to write after reading this story? So, you know, if you want to you do something else, you're so welcome. But I would love there to be some kind of inspiration from the story, either in terms of how things are done or in terms of the theme of the story. Uh,
write about learning something about your parents that changes the way, that completely changes that overturns your previous perception.
oh, I like that. Okay. I'll save that. Right. I think that, yeah, you are free to interpret however you like. But if you do the first one, only one thing can be fantasy. Only, you know, it's got to be, it's limited in magical realism. So your plant can change things, but the rest of the story is as it is. Or the magic butterfly, Roxanne. Because you've got lots of butterflies. All right. Right. Okay. Anything else that anyone wants to mention or anything? I'll put this edited thing up in the group in a while.
Sharon, so if we do come up with something, do we post it to the classroom or what do we do with it?
Yes, you're going to post it to the classroom, you know, like you did for the previous courses.
I wasn't in the previous course. That's why I'm asking.
Oh, previous courses.
Oh, the
You know,
previous
when you
courses.
when you
Yes.
did classes with me before. Those of
Yes,
you who
yes.
did classes online with me before, I think is
Yeah.
so everyone. No, maybe Priscilla, you've been online, done any of my online classes, or we were real classes, aren't we?
I've done both online and real.
Both. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just goes in the announcement section
It
where
goes, yeah, at the top you'll see announcement. So just click on announcement, and then you can just add your story, which can be a PDF, it can be a Word document, or it can be on Google Docs as well. Any of those three will work fine. So from last week, a couple of people have posted already. Karina asked a good question about, you know, what kind of feedback should we give? I thought on the first course, you know, the three things you like, the two things that you know you think could be improved is quite a good one. But I also when I read a short story and try to make a decision about it, I got this from a poet who judged a novel competition, and I'll put this in writing for you. The way that he evaluated the story is judging it on three levels, and I may have mentioned this to you guys before. The first level, can I read it? Okay, so is it possible for me to read this? Does it make sense to me? Is it written in decent enough English that it doesn't annoy the hell out of me? Can I read it? The second one, do I believe it? Has the writer brought me enough into the world of the story? Are the details real to me? Do I believe it? Do I believe the characters would act this way? And the third level was, do I care? Do I care? Do I feel something from the story? And if I care, what's the quality of my caring? And if I don't care, what's stopping me caring? So I will write that down and post that, and then it will give you something, I think, to look at. But the feedback will be different for each person's writing, because everyone will be doing quite different things with their writing, I think. So you can't have one universal set of things to judge it against. Does that make sense? Is that okay, Karina?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
I mean, I could give you a checklist for a short story, but it would be very detailed, and then you'd get bogged down in it. I might do that later,
It's
but not at the
just a
moment.
guideline, so we can use one question or all of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Go do your best with it all. Deadline is next Saturday for submitting it, and feedback by the following week. If there are a lot of people putting their pieces up, you don't have to read all of them, but read some of them and comment on those people. Don't let anybody feel that nobody read them. That would be incredibly sad. I will read all of them, of course. Yeah, and give a bit of feedback. Okay, I have finished then. Yeah.
Hey,
Great.
thank you, Sharon.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Sharon.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Great session.
Bye.
Have a good
Bye.
weekend.
You
Bye
too.
bye.
Have fun.
Bye.
Have fun.
Bye.
Yeah. Mm.
Okay, bye, Sharon.
Bye-bye, love. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.